Welcome to episode 23 of The Long Take. I'm Kenneth Gedry, and alongside me in another state, in New Jersey, is...
Hey, it's me, Justyn Moore. How you doing?
That's right. Hey, how you doing? Hey, how you doing over there?
Hey, how you doing from the neighborhood?
Hey, I do know you from the neighborhood. Hey. That's a little bit I'd like to do.
Sure.
So today... Oh, sorry. What were you going to say?
I was saying, how's it going, man?
Oh, I'm doing good. I'm doing pretty good. Saw Spectre. It's November 9th, November 10th.
Yeah.
I like how it's not Christmas yet. No one's talked about Christmas. Everyone's all fixated on Thanksgiving. I think for Thanksgiving, personally me, I'm going to get a Thanksgiving breast, turkey breast.
Oh, I thought you were going to say reduction.
A breast reduction, because these things hurt my back. And gonna get we're going to make a green bean casserole, some biscuits, cranberry sauce. I love Thanksgiving. Don't you love Thanksgiving?
It's the greatest. I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait for Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
It's one of my I think it's my favorite holiday.
Yeah,
it's got football, family, and food. The 3 Fs.
And you know what? You're looking forward to Christmas on Thanksgiving. Once Christmas is...
You're allowed to.
Yeah, on Christmas, you're like, it's Christmas. It's going to be over. It's almost the new year. Oh my God, it's almost the next year.
Yeah.
I'm getting older. Whereas Thanksgiving, you're just eating. You're in the moment. You're in the moment, and you're looking forward to the future. Christmas, the future is too close, man. It's like, whoa. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And Halloween, that was pretty recent.
Yeah, it just happened. Halloween was great.
Everybody
was all dressed up and asking for candy, trick-or-treating.
Yeah, I went to Disneyland for Halloween. I hope I didn't mention that in a previous podcast episode. I feel like I did.
I don't think you did, because I think this is the first time I'm here.
Okay, cool.
What is that like?
Let's start again. I went to Disneyland for Halloween, dressed as Fred Flintstone, and everyone was like, "Hey, Fred!" The only problem was Christina didn't dress up because she got scared. She didn't want.
She's a phobia of dressing up in public.
I guess. And then Adam, did he dress up? I can't remember. It was like last week.
Adam is such a downer.
It was last week.
He never dresses up for anything.
I know. I can't remember what we were going to dress him up as, but because it was last week. I had a lot to drink since then, so my memory's all fuzzy. But yeah, it was a good time. What did you do on Halloween, which was last week?
Last week on Halloween. Let me think.
Why is it taking you so long to think about this?
I have a pretty busy life, let me say.
Just in this last week?
For some reason, it seems like it was longer ago. I must have been doing a lot this past week. No. Halloween, we had a party over at my sister's place down in Toms River.
Toms River, New Jersey.
Yeah, our hometown. Went down there and we had a good time. I dressed up. Jana and I were an adorable old couple. I had like a cardigan and a little half Windsor knot tie and a little. It's actually right here.
Oh right, yeah, I saw
one of those.
I saw that on Facebook.
What kind of hat is this? I don't even know what you call it.
I don't know what you call that.
Yeah, an old man hat. And I had a cane, and I had a good time.
You know, that's kind of the hat that Rocky's best friend usually wears. Doesn't I mean, this is another
Paulie?
movie.
Is that his name?
But he's dead in the Creed. But what's his name? Doesn't he wear those hats?
How do you know he's dead in Creed? Did you see Creed already?
I heard rumors that he's dead in Creed. It's not true. What's his name? Paulie? Paulie.
I think it's Paulie. Yeah.
Yeah. Doesn't he wear those hats? I thought he wore those.
Maybe.
Isn't there a famous character that wears hats like that in movies? I'm sure there's got to be one.
Is it a beret? Is that what it is?
I think it's called a beret. I think there's
it's
famous French. Got to be someone French wears a beret.
Yeah,
but
sounds French.
Yeah, sounds French. but let's not. I feel like we're getting ahead of ourselves when we're talking about Creed.
Yeah, we'll save that for another episode.
And I think we get way ahead of ourselves if we talk about Star Wars. The plot details have not even been I have no idea what happens in Star Wars.
I'm really worried about that getting spoiled for me somehow. I hope I can see it early enough when it comes out, because it's going to be such an event that I don't know. I'm just going to pretty much avoid the internet for a couple weeks or whatever until I see it.
Yeah, that's a damn straight. You know what? I mean, I feel like why even talk about Creed or Star Wars when you could talk about Spectre?
That's right.
James Bond.
Just saw it. Just came out.
Oof! I feel like I'm still there. I feel like I'm still in the world of James Bond. You know what I mean?
So, what do you think of Spectre, man?
Yeah, let's talk about it. I'll give a brief overview of my thoughts on it, because I don't know. I'm looking into the future, and I feel like when Creed comes out, I'm going to talk a lot about it and not give you anything inchwise, because I think. And yeah, I just I wanna like just briefly go into it, and then you can go into it. Now, so that way you're not like, well, Ken, you just said everything I wanted to say. You know what I mean? So
right.
All right, so Ken, stop stalling. All right, here's what I think about Spectre. Honestly, to preface, when it comes to James Bond movies, that's like the one franchise where I don't particularly care about what's happening plot-wise. I want the plot to work. I want the movie to work on a basic level so that it could be cool. I mean, that way you can have all like the usual shit. The gadgets, the cool car. Like the atmosphere of the Bond films is what really draws me to it. Or like the Bond chick or the Bond villain and all that cool stuff. And Sam Mendes, I feel, with Skyfall, pretty much got that. And he got cool exotic locations. He made Bond cool again. I mean, James Bond and Daniel Craig as James Bond in Quantum of Solace and Casino Royale, I feel, well, I thought he did a solid job on both. I feel like in Skyfall he's cool. He's seducing ladies. He's perhaps being like a badass, not like just like a action hero. Like almost like a James Bourne type. He has more personality in Skyfall, I feel, and so I feel like that's why the movie works. And so it has all that cool stuff in it, and it has a plot that basically, like, you're like, okay, it works. Javier Bardem is cool. Choose some scenery a little bit. With Spectre, amazingly, Sam Mendes and whoever wrote this movie felt the need to take all that stuff, all that cool stuff, like having a cool villain, having some cool Bond girls, having exotic locations, and all that coolness of it, and just saying, you know what, let's throw all that out and just focus on the plot of the last three movies, and try to put it all together in one. And I gotta tell you, that did not really work for me here. And when the movie is 2 hours and 30 minutes long...
God, is it really that long?
Wow. I mean...
It felt every minute of it.
It really did. Now, here's the thing. Overall, I have a positive outlook on it in that, I feel like it's a clear notch below Skyfall, but I didn't, dislike it. I was like, that was okay. It still had some bondiness to it. It kind of worked, I would give it a really mild thumbs up, not a complete thumbs down, but I'm very mixed. So that's my overview. We'll get into the specifics later. But Justin, what do you think?
I'm just gonna go out and say I disliked it. I was not a fan of Spectre. I was really bummed, really disappointed in it, because I was really excited. I love Daniel Craig as James Bond. Specifically Casino Royale. That movie, that take on it, addressing Bond in a way that we had never really seen before. all the stuff that we kind of take for granted as viewers, because we grew up and Bond was already this established thing. You know, he's the cool guy drinking the martini in the tux with the hot girl and the awesome car and all the gadgets and all that. And it really stripped him down. It was like, how did this guy? I mean, it wasn't a true origin story, but it was like, how does he get there? You know, starting from his first mission. And it's not so much about like the typical Bond girl. It's it's Eva Green. And like, there's love there. Like, it's more than just betting someone, and there's a lot of pain in that movie. So it's very gritty. It's very real. Yeah, I hear a lot of like the James Bourne stuff. Obviously,
Jason Bourne. Did I say James Bourne before?
No, like, I thought you were saying that on purpose because James Bond, Jason Bourne.
I guess okay. yes, I was totally yes.
So yeah. The Bourne identity had a big impact on all things action movie. Like it that's unavoidable, and yeah, you could see that. But I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing to take a new stance on this, because the Bond movies had gotten stale with Pierce Brosnan.
Yeah, that's true. New. I think the thing was, just to briefly, yeah. I think it worked fine with Casino Royale. I think it was Quantum of Solace where they took it to a way. It was too much, and it wasn't interesting. I think that's what happened.
That's the most forgettable of the Daniel Craig Bond movies for me in recent memory. Like I don't think I've seen it since I saw it in the theaters.
I barely remember anything that happened.
I don't remember it to the point where, like, if they referenced anything from Quantum of Solace, I'm sure they did in Spectre. Whatever. But the thing that I liked about Casino Royale is, like, it was Bond, but it didn't feel so much like Bond. It was refreshing. And when Skyfall came out, that to me seemed like a kind of a good marriage between what we get from Casino Royale and what we've gotten. Like, it had a little more of the Bond tropes. It felt more like a Bond movie. You know what I mean? And it had the interesting villain, and it worked on that level. And now with this one, for one, the storyline seems like pretty much a direct knockoff of what happened in the Mission Impossible.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah, you've got this like technology NSA type agency going on. Like, this is all we need. We don't need you people out in the field anymore. It's like, you're really going to make that movie when they just made that movie? And like, these are the two movies that have been compared to each other since we've been aware of them. Tom Cruise, Mission Impossible, Pierce Brosnan, now Daniel Craig, James Bond. So for them to do that, it was like, you couldn't come up with a different story, something a little more interesting, a little more exotic, a little more original?
Well, to be fair, Rogue Nation came out, July 31st, like 3.5 months ago. So I mean,
so I guess that happens, right?
It kind of happens sometimes. I will say it's definitely an inferior version of the same plot. I feel like Mission Impossible.
I think they did it better in Mission Impossible.
Yeah, I feel like with Mission Impossible, they better utilize that plot to allow for better action set pieces. Like, there are certain things that Ethan Hunt had to do that was cool. Like, I have to do this underwater heist thing. Like, it led to interesting stuff. Whereas, like, with Spectre, the action scenes kind of felt typical, of like, oh, so he's going to have a car chase scene here. Whereas, like, in Mission Impossible, there's a car chase, but it comes right after the heist. And so, like, maybe you should be expecting a car chase, but because you already went through, like, this cool underwater heist thing, and now we're in a car chase, you're like, whoa, it just kind of adds on top of each other in a cool way. And it was a well-shot car chasing. Whereas, like, in Spectre, I couldn't help but compare both movies, and I was
even when I was watching it, I was thinking about that.
Mm-hmm, and I was
like, didn't I see this movie sort of?
Yeah.
But what else? The movie kind of tries to force the viewer to accept things, like this mysterious bad guy who's in the shadows, Christoph Waltz's character. We're supposed to just assume
that was so poorly done.
We never heard about this guy, but we're just supposed to assume that he's like this. He's the figure, the mysterious figure. He's the bad guy, and for whatever reason, like, he and James have this connection that goes back to their childhood. There's this picture of them as boys, and one of their faces blurred out, and it's like, where is all this coming from?
Yeah.
We went to his childhood home in the movie before, so again, they're playing on that trope again, like, what is his past? And really, like, James Bond is just a spy. That's the cool thing about him. Like, it doesn't matter where he's from. Like, it's where he is in the world, where he's going. He's going to these exotic locations, he's doing these things, and they're making the movie about him, but it's, like, not interesting, you know? So when they lead you to believe that this movie is about these brothers, sort of, even though, like, the one is adopted or whatever, like, the stakes aren't high at all. You're not really concerned about, you know, it's not even like Daniel Craig couldn't care less that he's seeing this person for the first time in many years. It's like, I don't know, it's like it doesn't even affect him in the least. Yeah, just, and Christoph Waltz, I remember when Spectre first got announced, and I was like, ooh, Christoph Waltz, he's going to be the baddie, and you're like, yeah, I don't know, you didn't seem that excited about it. And I was like, what, are you kidding? He was, like, so menacing in Inglourious Bastards, but, like, you pointed out that there's only so many times that a guy can do, like, the same shtick, and it gets old. And he did a lot of the same inflections on his voice, and, you know, it didn't work. And he just became, like, a very forgettable, typical Bond villain. This last thing I want to touch on before we go into anything, like, the thing that I appreciated about something like Casino Royale, like, they both have interrogation scenes. And in Casino Royale, it's kind of a reimagining of it. It's really, like I said, it's really gritty, and it's like, it's not about, you know, a laser beam or anything like that. It's literally just Bond in a chair getting smacked in the balls by like a sack. A weighted sack, like getting tortured in like the most brutal way possible, and it's like this is a real man's James Bond, just like gritty and almost like primal. And now you've got this in this movie in Spectre, where the evil villain who now has at one point he even has a scar on his face.
Yeah,
and he's got the cat on his lap, and he's got this drill that's like going into different portions of his skull.
Well, it's like, because he's Blowfield, right? Is that like the look that he's supposed to have? Like, that's a famous villain, right? In the Bond trope.
It's like they literally just went back and took things from. So it's become sort of a parody of itself. And yeah, we get it. Like, Bond has been around for so long. This is what, like, the 23rd, 24th Bond movie. So at a certain point, you're going to have to start taking, like, you can't keep coming up with original ideas. But it seems like they invested so much effort into making Bond original with Casino Royale. I can't say the same for Quantum of Solace just because I can't really remember, and Skyfall, that at this point they kind of just, I don't know, they stopped trying so much. And I know that's not true. You know, movies take all this effort, and it's like years in the making. It's this huge investment. So I was just really disappointed because this was a movie that I was seriously looking forward to, and for it to fall so flat to the point where it's like, I'm not buying this love story. I'm not buying that Bond, you know, has accepted this new hope for the future. You know, he's, you know, leaving this violence behind. He doesn't kill him. All right, we're still going to have another Bond movie. You know, it's not like this is the last Bond movie. So you can't close that door.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, I had a really hard time buying the romance between him and Léa Seydoux' character. Like, he knew her father, right? And now he's, like, fucking the dude's daughter. Like, it didn't even take him that much. Like, I know he has to fuck everything, but it really didn't take him much scruples to be like, nah, I knew your father. He was like, I kind of. She's like, you can't touch me in bed. He's like, oh, I kind of wanted to, so he didn't at that point. But then later on, you know, they just defeat a guy in the train, and like, what do we do now? Let's fuck. And
that was so lame. You just reminded me of the train thing. Like, the guy doesn't say anything the whole time. It's just like this force that can't be stopped.
That was Bautista, right?
Bautista, yeah, from Guardians of the Galaxy, and he was a wrestler before that.
Yeah.
And, like, it's supposed to be funny, I guess. You know, what does he say? Shit? When he realizes that he's going to get, you know, killed. But, like, that's all he's... It's like, this isn't supposed to be funny. It's so campy. Like, I don't even know if that's the right word, but I think that's what they're trying to go for. Some of the stuff that was in the older Bond movies.
Yeah, it was a weird mix of campiness and, like grittiness, like the trying to retain that grittiness, but like adding camp. Whereas like I feel like Skyfall, like was more focused on like it was very style over substance, and I appreciated that. I appreciated the style over substance just because, as we saw this time, they really tried to give some substance to like who Blofeld is and the backstory, and Lea Seydoux' character and her relationship with her father. But it doesn't really feel like these actors really care about their characters' motivations. Like, oh, my father, wanted him to, like when James Bond says that your father wants to protect you. Like, I didn't feel like that was true. Like I didn't feel like, oh wow, he's really doing a nice thing, like honoring her father's word. And I'm like, wait, who's her father again? Why do I care?
Yeah, are we supposed to care about him? Is he from another movie?
I couldn't exactly remember who he was. So it was just a little bit difficult to try to really get into the emotions of these characters when they're trying to play up those very things. The emotion behind like Lea Seydoux' character and like the backstory between Blofeld and Bond, and you're just like, who cares? Whereas like at least
the stakes are so low. Like, you don't give a shit. At
least Skyfall, it was really more about going from one set piece to another, which is what I enjoyed about Rogue Nation. Because as long as the story is working in the moment, I can get with the action. It's really honestly, and we talked about this with all of going to Mad Max Fury Road. It's like when you have a streamlined enough story and it works, and you have all the pieces in there, you can go as far and as weird and as wild you want with the action, as long as there's enough story along the way to let the action be itself. The problem with so many action movies is the convolutedness. It's the over explanation of the plot. It's, oh, we gotta do this. Usually it's like, okay, we just beat those guys, but now we gotta find this guy. Okay, let's go find that guy. Alright, let's do it. But like, there's like this guy, and like I gotta protect your daughter, and I gotta do this, and there's so much to explain before you get from one point to another that by the time you get to the action scene, you're like, all right, who's this guy again? You're just not really
like,
yeah.
Blofeld and Lea Seydoux' character have some kind of connection, but I can't even remember.
I don't remember. I don't know.
And I know, at one point he plays the footage of his suicide, and I get that because they have all the data from everything around the world. But like, maybe I'm just imagining it? Is there a connection there? Maybe between her father and Blofeld?
I don't.
Blofeld?
I'm not exactly sure. And like, if there was, the movies taking for granted are that we care so much about all the plot details of the last three movies that it's really going to hit home here. Where like,
and that,
we didn't know that there was going to be a plan, like an overarching story when Casino.
Right, that's never happened in Bond before.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, here's the movie, here's the adventure. We'll see James again. Like, that's how the credits always end. We'll see him on his next adventure. It's not a trilogy, or it's not like you said, an overarching storyline. These movies are supposed to be able to stand on their own. That's how you can make 20 of them.
Yeah, the whole overarching story just made no sense if there's no overall plan. It really makes no sense to try to have this movie be like all the previous three movies are leading up to this, because Skyfall was the highest grossing Bond movie of all time. It was Skyfall, but it doesn't mean that everyone's like, oh, let's go back and watch Quantum of Solace and Casino Royale because Spectre's going to tie everything together. We didn't, like, there's none of that. I mean, I kind of remember Skyfall, but even then, I don't remember like specific plot details. I don't remember who Harvey Bardem's character even was, really. I don't really remember his character. I knew that he was cool. I remember Bardem being awesome, but I don't remember what his motivation was. I don't remember like James Bond's like Bond girl. I don't remember who the actress was that played the Bond girl in that movie. But I remember having a good time when I saw the movie. That's basically it. So with Spectre, what I'm going to remember is having to sit through all this bullshit and not exactly having a good time with it, you know?
Yeah.
And before we wrap it up,
I can't remember who the Skyfall Bond girl was either. Who was it?
God,
that's bothering me.
I'm not even sure, to be honest with you. I do remember in Spectre, Monica Bellucci's in this movie for absolutely no reason, really. This movie is like the biggest waste of Monica Bellucci.
Lazy. It's a very lazy. Yeah, it's like the opening credits or the opening like action sequence is the assassination of this guy.
Yeah,
he's married to Monica.
That was cool.
You need to. Yeah, that was like I was like, all right, I'm in this so far. The Day of the Dead thing is kind of cool, and then it's only for the reason of bringing him to Monica Bellucci so that he can take her husband's place at this table, you know, so that he can meet his long lost brother.
Right. Yeah. Basically, yeah. So like
and that's like the first quarter of the movie, and it's like all just like detective work.
But not only that, it's just like I know who Monica Bellucci is. You know what I mean? It's weird.
Yeah.
To just see her like wasted like that, like she's just literally just like a plaything. Her husband.
She's just in one scene.
Her husband just died.
Right. Does he have sex with her?
Yes. Oh yeah.
He does.
They fucked.
He does.
They fucked. They had sex. I know sex when I see it. I mean, they don't see him have sex. That's another thing. You don't really like. I get it. Like these are PG-13 movies, but like if there's gonna be a love scene, like show some love. Like at least
something.
Give us something. Like Monica Bellucci is hot still. Léa Seydoux, I was kind of glad because Léa Seydoux is like born in 1990, and like she's.
Did you make it through Blue Is the Warmest Color?
I make it. Yeah, I love that movie.
Yeah, right. So you've seen a lot of her.
Yeah, I saw plenty of her in that and there. I mean, I don't expect nudity. It's going to be PG-13, but at least some sexuality. If he's going to have like sex, show something. Yeah. I'm not sure like the history of Bond movies. But I'm sure there's a little bit more, like, at least foreplay going on, you know what I mean, in some of these movies. You know, at least make it somewhat titillating if you're going to go that route. At least don't, like, skip through, like, the fun part. You know what I mean? It's like they really take, like, a 1940s version of it, you know? Or it's like they kiss, and the next scene, they're in bed, or they're out of bed. You know what I mean? And
yeah, it's the next morning.
Exactly.
We just imagine everything that happened.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just pretend there was sex right here. Yeah. Well.
Yeah, so I don't know. I was just disappointed in it because I was, again, looking forward to it, and it just didn't work for me. I was really let down. You let me down, Mendez.
You really did.
I guess is Daniel Craig coming back for a fifth one and one last hurrah?
He makes it sound like he's not. And it kind of seemed like in the movie that he didn't really care anymore.
Yeah, right.
He didn't really make a compelling case to want to come back. And at the same time, it's a shame. I mean, if you don't want to play James Bond, don't play James Bond. You know, like give it to Idris Elba already.
Well, yeah, you have to know what you're getting yourself into because you know his complaint now is like, all right, we've done this, you know, so many times. You knew that when you did one that you're going to do like 3 or 4 more. You know, it's a series. It's not just a movie, and like I'm sure you were excited at the opportunity of expanding your celebrity and you know getting your name out there because that was a big opportunity for him in the beginning. Like there are all these people vying for this job, and you got it. And I'm sure you were happy then. And now it's this burden. Like I'm sure Clive Owen would love to have that burden right now.
I know. Yeah, like, and it's kind of sad because Clive Owen at the time was like a huge star. Or like
he was a big contender. I was actually rooting for him.
Yeah,
I wanted to see him as Bond. I could totally see it.
And by now, like you know, now he's on the Nick, but he kind of had to like be pulled out of like near obscurity because he was not getting any like really good parts for a couple of years there until Soderbergh cast him for the lead in the Nick, and and you're just kind of like you're kind of wondering what the hell happened there. And I don't know. You know what happened? Daniel Craig showed that he could be a good Bond, but
yeah, of course,
he just kind of burned out. Like Pierce Brosnan, let's give him credit. He wanted to keep playing Bond. He wanted to keep doing it.
Well, that was like the only thing he was doing, right?
But at least he like owned up to the fact that that's the only thing he could do. You know what I mean? Oh, that's not necessarily
I think
true.
Pierce Brosnan, not to like slight Pierce Brosnan. I mean, he like, I know he's done other movies, but I feel like he at that point in his career was like, all right, I'm just going to accept that like I am James Bond. Whereas Daniel Craig is like, I'm playing James Bond, but I also want to be in The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, and I want to do other movies that I want to I don't want to be defined by this role.
Yeah, and it's like, well, sorry, dude. Every actor.
That's the risk you take when you.
Every actor is going to be defined by this role. Every actor who takes this role is going to be defined by it. That's just how it works. You know?
Right.
I don't think of Pierce Brosnan as Stu. Was his name Stu?
Stu from Mrs. Doubtfire.
Yeah, I'm not like, oh, it's Stu from Mrs. Doubtfire. Once he's James Bond, he's James Bond. That's it. Even now, 13 years.
What about the? Wasn't there another like kind of spy-ish movie that he did with Rene Russo?
The Thomas Crown Affair.
The Thomas Crown Affair. Okay, yeah, I remember reading about that because like when you sign on to be James Bond, part of your contract is you can't be in any other movies wearing a tux. So like in one of the scenes of that movie, he had to be wearing a tuxedo, and in order to go on, like he couldn't wear a tie. It had to be a white tux, and he couldn't tie his bow tie. Otherwise, they'd get sued.
That's funny.
Yeah. So I'm sure Daniel Craig thinks all that's silly. Like it's almost like he's above all this stuff. And yeah, he's a serious actor, but you knew what you were getting yourself into.
Right. Yeah, I almost wonder.
So
what were you gonna say?
What? No. I was just gonna say like don't act as if it's like this cross to bear, like this great thing that you have going.
Exactly. Yeah, I was gonna say like I almost wonder with like Idris Elba, like, do you think he at this point of his career, he the last couple movies he did, Beasts of No Nation and Mandela: Long Walk to Freedom, it seems like he wants to have freedom in his acting career, but it also seems like he would like to play Bond, and
I don't even know if like people make a big deal about it because of the color of his skin. And because that's just like, hey, is it time for a black Bond? But I honestly think that Idris Elba, as great of an actor as he is, he's probably too old to play Bond at this point.
You think so?
He's already going gray a little bit. Yeah, I think he's too old. It has to, if you're going to start over with a new actor, he's got to be somebody that can grow into the role. Like Daniel Craig was a younger guy when he started doing this thing. And you could believe that this was like where James Bond started. This is his beginning.
Well, how old is Idris Elba?
He's got to be in his 40s.
Yeah, because Daniel Craig.
Check real quick.
I thought Daniel Craig was like 38 when he started. Yeah, I guess you're right. 43. Idris Elba's 43 now, so yeah.
Yeah.
I guess you're right.
Daniel Craig's 47. So
but
just a little bit older than me.
It just would make so much sense to have Idris Elba. Like, not for me. It's not even like him being the first Black Bond. Even though like you can't ignore that would be. That's part of it. It just feels like the natural next actor to pick, because I can't really think of anybody else who would be a great Bond other than him. I think he'd be a great Bond. Even if he's 43. Even if
you don't think Tom Hardy or Michael Fassbender?
No to both, and I love both actors. I don't think they're slick enough to play the role. Tom Hardy. First of all, Tom Hardy would not want to do 5 Bond movies.
I just saw his picture.
Mm-hmm. But he's too brooding. Like he doesn't really have he does have that. He can
but
be.
Daniel Craig is like the pouting James Bond. He's brooding too.
He's brooding, but we don't need 2 brooding James Bonds in a row. We need to switch it up a little bit. And Michael Fassbender, like he's cunning, but like. You don't really think of him as the good guy, ever. You know what I mean?
He's also not from the UK. I guess you have to be from the UK to be James Bond.
Yeah, although, Sean Connery's Scottish. But yeah, the UK, that general territory, not Ireland. Damn it. Yeah, he's Irish, right? Fassbender? Is he Irish?
Fassbender's born in Germany, but I think raised in Ireland.
Yeah, so like, that's kind of like probably the same reason why Colin Farrell didn't get the part like 10 years ago. You know what I mean? Because like he's Irish, he can't get the part. So, because otherwise Colin Farrell would have actually, I think he would have been an okay Bond. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think so. I think Clive Owen would have been good too. But I like Daniel Craig. I really like Daniel Craig as James Bond.
Well, better luck next time, Bond guys. I guess in summation, we both were pretty mixed. You more to the negative, me. I didn't really say much positive things about Spectre, so I guess we could both say that it was kind of it wasn't that great. It wasn't very good at all. So, but when we come back from break, we're going to talk about the Golden Globes. So stick around for that. You're listening to The Long Take.
Then, man.
All right, we're back. So we are back. Last segment of The Long Take. And we're going to just kind of wrap things up by talking about the Golden Globes. Of course, you have the Golden Globes, you have the SAG Awards, Screen Actors Guild. They kind of gives you more of a taste of like how the actor race is shaping up. Golden Globes is kind of an overview, kind of like these are kind of the movies that are getting more attention. That doesn't necessarily mean that whoever wins the Golden is going to win the Oscars. Last year, Boyhood won Best Drama, but it turned out Birdman actually won Best Oscar, although I think Birdman won Best Comedy too, so whatever. What I'm saying is, where does the Golden and the fucking award season has started?
That's what that means.
That's what that means. I don't know if you got that. That's what I meant.
That's what we're saying.
That's what that means. So
yes,
that is exactly what we're saying. And you know what? I keep saying you know what, and I don't understand why. But I think what's interesting, a big difference between the SAG. I mean, SAG is about the actors. Golden Globes is kind of more of an overview. But SAG, they nominated Straight Outta Compton for Best Ensemble. And I'm wondering if, how much of a pull... You haven't seen Straight Outta Compton.
Really wanted to.
But
just never made it to the theaters after that one.
It'd just kind of be interesting to see if Straight Outta Compton really has enough juice to be an Oscar contender. Because it had the box office, it had the critical acclaim, so why not? I mean, I don't see why they wouldn't be able to pull it off. But it's a crowded field. It's a really crowded field. And so I'm not quite sure. But leading the nominees for the Golden Globes is Carol.
No surprise there, right?
Best Film Drama. Not to me. Best Film Drama, Best Actress Drama, Best Supporting Actress. I believe Best Director, but I will check. Not Best Screenplay. That's interesting. They gave the nod to Tarantino for screenplay.
Yeah, the Quentin. Did you hear about that?
The Quentin. Yeah, I heard about that. Where's the best?
Might have something
director?
There, maybe.
Did I overlook that? Okay, yeah, Best Director, Carol also, and yeah, Best Original Score. Yeah, but Carol has a lot of nominees. I hope people who see it, general audiences who see it, see it for what it is, which is it's a great film. I'm glad. I'm glad it has kind of a classical feel to it. It's not kind of like this wild artsy film. It very much feels like of the times. 1950s New York. Lesbian relationship, and what I love about the film is the way it takes that classical style, kind of throwback feel. Let me just keep going. The Revenant, Room, Spotlight, and then comedy: Big Short, Joy, The Martian, Spy, Trainwreck. Should The Martian be in comedy? Should Joy be in comedy? Probably not. Should even Big Short be in comedy? I don't know. But, I mean, The Martian, it does have its comedic elements, but it's a sci-fi film. It's really not about the comedy. Joy is supposed to be a drama.
Yeah. The Big Short's a drama, too, isn't it? I mean, it might be, like, it's got a comedy director, Adam McKay, but it's not it's not a funny movie. I mean, it might have its funny parts, but it's not supposed to be a funny movie.
Yeah.
The only comedies really there are Spy and Trainwreck, and I'm kind of surprised to see a Melissa McCarthy movie up there. I don't know why. I just don't take her very seriously, I guess.
Well, I mean, that's good because she's a comedic actress.
True.
So, but yes, I mean, I wasn't crazy about Spy, but it was one of the more notable comedies to come out this year. So, I mean,
any pictures that you're like surprised that aren't included in the Best Picture drama?
Yeah,
comedies?
Bridge of Spies.
Yeah,
what the fuck is going on with Bridge of Spies? How are people not responding to that movie? How are the Coen brothers not nominated for Best Screenplay? How is Spielberg not nominated over shit? I mean, at least Ridley Scott in The Martian. I would put Spielberg over him. I mean, I haven't seen Revenant, but I mean, if it is half as good as I think it's going to be, then I'll give Iñárritu his nominee. And I'm glad Haynes and McCarthy did a great job at Spotlight. It's not quite a director's movie, it's really more about the dialogue and the acting, but I could still see Tom McCarthy has done a lot of great work in the past that I'm happy to see him nominated. But I get it. Spielberg's been nominated so many times. He's won all these things before. But it just kind of saddens me. Like, this movie doesn't really have any momentum going for it. It does have a nominee, I think, for Best Supporting Actor, Mark Rylance in Bridge of Spies, which I'm very happy about. Mm-hmm. Because I think he is fantastic. And if you don't know who Mark Rylance is before Bridge of Spies, you will know after you see his before. He's outstanding, and I really wish you've seen that. I wish you see that movie. However you see it, because it really is a fantastic film, and it deserves better. It deserves more attention than what it's getting, especially movies like Trumbo and even Steve Jobs and Danish Girl and Concussion. You have Bryan Cranston, Bryan Cranston, Eddie Redmayne, and Will Smith on top of DiCaprio and Fassbender nominated for Best Actor Drama. And Best Actor Drama is a really just weak category. Best Actor is probably the weakest category in recent memory.
Will Smith, Michael Fassbender, Eddie Redmayne, Leo DiCaprio, and Bryan Cranston.
Yeah, I mean, DiCaprio's performance it looks really promising. Fassbender is easily the best of the bunch.
And you knew Redmayne was going to get nominated, didn't you?
Yeah, you knew.
So then you've got these two guys on the side.
But nobody really stepped up to even try to replace Redmayne. You knew that he would be nominated from the beginning.
Mm-hmm. Who's missing?
But who's missing? Well, Johnny Depp and Tom Hanks, Johnny Depp and Black Mass. As far as buzz is concerned, everyone kind of thought that he would get more buzz. Yeah. And for the SAG Awards, he's nominated for best actor for the SAG. So, really? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm happy to see Bryan Cranston in there. I just Trumbo. I feel like Bridge of Spies should have at least a little bit more. It's not like a box office bomb. Mm-hmm. It had a pretty solid intake, but it's weird to see what films instead are being nominated.
Yeah.
So, or with under comedy, Al Pacino for Danny Collins, Mark Ruffalo for Infinitely Polar Bear. I mean, it's just weird to see these movies that really had. I mean, it's kind of cool to see that these movies that really didn't have much play in the box office or much buzz at all get nominated. But it just goes to show you just how weak the Best Actor category overall is. That they're kind of really going back and looking. I will say it's really great to see Sylvester Stallone nominated for Best Supporting Actor for Creed.
Yeah,
what do you say?
Yeah, I definitely agree there.
I wonder. Like Paul Dano and Love. Like again, the reason why Love and Mercy is worth watching is Paul Dano as Brian Wilson of the Beach Boys, because he looks the part. Once you see what Brian Wilson looked like, you're like, wow, Paul Dano looks exactly like him. But not only that, but it's easily Paul Dano or Paul Dano, whatever his last name is pronounced. But I think it's his best performance of his career.
Yeah.
Is in Love and Mercy. And then you have Idris Elba, who is solid. I still haven't seen Beast of No Nation. I don't know what's keeping me from seeing it. Maybe because it's so easy to see. It's
no
like,
challenge
I'll get to it.
You don't have to go anywhere. You don't have to get in your car. You don't even have to put on pants.
Mm-hmm.
Are you surprised to not see Tom Hardy anywhere?
For Legend?
For Legend, for Revenant, I guess Mad Max, he didn't really do much. He didn't really act much.
I mean, I'm
I
surprised.
Guess, no supporting role for Revenant. It's supposed to be, from what I'm expecting, it's, Leo versus Hardy, and Hardy's the antagonist.
Well, it seems that it's really, Leo is really just the one gaining attention for that film.
And,
I mean, we'll see. Oscars, the nominations don't come out until mid-January, so Revenant and Hateful Eight and Joy will have stewed for a little longer. So I think the Oscar nominations will be a lot different. I mean, I guess what's interesting is kind of speculating on what's definitely going to cross over.
Yeah.
So here's what I think is definitely going to cross over for the Oscars. Carol.
Talking Best Picture.
Yeah, Carol, Spotlight, probably The Martian, probably Joy.
Yeah.
I don't know about Big Short. I don't know if that is going to be strong enough.
You haven't seen that?
I haven't seen it yet. But I'm still just based on the buzz.
Think Mad Max
you know what I mean? Maybe.
It had a big.
I mean,
there's.
It depends on what the Academy goes for. It's like because first of all, Sicario is nowhere to be found.
That's
here.
right. Where the hell's Sicario?
Exactly. Does the Academy like it more? Does anybody like it? Like why is Sicario so far down?
Not even like cinematography. I would hope it was such a beautifully shot movie.
Maybe perhaps The Revenant. Maybe it's strong enough. I think it probably would get Best Picture nominee.
Yeah. Well, you got Inarritu coming off of his win, so like he gets kind of like the movie has that going for it, and the A-list star. Tom Hardy's nothing to shake a stick at either. So. Yeah.
I mean, I hope that Bridge of Spies gets nominated. I just don't. It really seems like it's kind of a low point as far as buzz is concerned. And Critics Awards, they're not really helping because they're not really giving Bridge of Spies anything.
That sucks.
So that's As far as Best Director, I would say Haynes. It'd be great to see Haynes. If Todd Haynes is not a director, that you should really get to know him because he's. First of all, he's already working on another movie coming out in probably 2017. So he's got his he's about the same age as Inarritu, early 50s, mid to early 50s, and it seems like his career, he's finally getting regular work because he's been this a great director. He's a great director who I don't necessarily like all of his films.
Yeah,
I love Far From Heaven. I loved Carol. I blind bought Safe. It's from Criterion, which it stars Julianne Moore, and that was Todd Haynes' film from 1995. That was his second film, so I'm really I still haven't seen it yet, but I'm really excited about that. And his first film was called I'm Not There, which I love a lot of, but I never really thought it was really cohesive and coherent. He has this other side to him. He has two sides to him. He has this classical homage to the 50s style, at least from Far From Heaven and Carol, and I guess Mildred Pierce, his miniseries. But then he has this kind of wild, unfocused, messy style with Velvet Goldmine and I'm Not There. And both are very much these music drenched I'm Not There is very much about Bob Dylan and his career and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Not really about his career, but like it's kind of like emotionally, it goes through his career. And Velvet Goldmine is about like the glam rock scene of the early '70s. And I mean, there's a lot of great stuff in both films, and enough great stuff for me to really enjoy Todd Haynes as director. But Carol, he's just in kind of like the top of his game, I think, in Carol. What's going to be tricky is with like Tarantino.
Yeah,
I think Tarantino easily gets a. I think Hateful Eight is getting pretty good buzz right now. Golden Globes. It's one of those things where it's getting enough buzz from and after it comes out, it might have like enough buzz. I think it will play out kind of like Wolf of Wall Street. I don't think it's going to win anything. But you know how, remember when Wolf of Wall Street kind of came out late? Too late to get, like, nominated for things, like, early on?
Right.
But then when the Oscars came out, like, all of a sudden Jonah Hill got nominated. There's a lot of surprise nominations because it turned out the Academy at least liked Wolf of Wall Street enough. And maybe if the Oscars were taking place a month later, Wolf of Wall Street might have been winning things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so Wolf of Wall Street wound up being, like, nominated for, like, 5 or 6 Academy Awards. Didn't win any, but like it was out long enough for the Academy to like it, but not long enough for the Golden Globes to really acknowledge it. So I think that Hateful Eight's kind of in that tweener, in that in between type state where like they nominated Quentin for a screenplay, but maybe they're not. Maybe it's not like in there. Oh, they also nominated Jennifer Jason Leigh for Best Supporting Actress.
Yeah, I saw that. And music, right? The music for Hateful Eight is nominated also.
Oh yeah, you're right. I didn't realize. Okay, wow. Yeah, it does have 3 nominations. So yeah, I mean, that's you got to say that's a pretty strong showing for Hateful Eight, considering. So yeah, I think Quentin Tarantino should be able to get a direct nomination. I would say, but I think Spotlight is going to be the movie that everyone gravitates towards, as far as like this is the movie we all like. Revenant's going to have its lovers and haters. Carol is not going to be loved by everyone. I know that. Hateful Eight is not going to be loved by. I don't think Tarantino will ever make a movie just loved by everybody enough that he'll actually win Best Picture. I don't think he'll ever have that movie. And if he's only making 10 movies, he only has like 2 more chances after this to make that kind of movie.
Yeah, but I've heard he's also kind of leaning away from that like concrete number.
Yeah.
I'm done at 10. Like the last I heard, he said he's trying to like become an arrowhead, or like he wants his career to be like an arrowhead that just gets finer as it gets to the point.
Yeah, it's about like if it won, I wouldn't mind. It'd be fine. I think it's a great film. It's not one of my favorites of the year, but I think it's a film that deserves to get that kind of attention. At the same time, if it does make it that far and it wins Best Picture, it just kind of shows you how the process works, because when you get like 50 of your friends together and you say we all have to agree on what the best movie of the year is, that ultimately your favorite movie isn't going to be the best movie according to your 50 friends.
Yeah.
Because you're going to be like, okay, well, we have to agree on something, otherwise we can't leave this room. Right? If that's a scenario.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Eventually, you're just going to, okay, we all like Creed is kind of like, we all liked it enough. It's all of our favorite movie. You know what I mean? Like, I'm fine with that being, like, if I was in a group and we said, hey, do you think Creed was the best movie of the year? I'm like, fine, I'll go with you on that one. I did like it enough to say that. You know what I mean? But there's only like, those times with Birdman where I would say no. I'm like, I would try to make my argument against it, because Birdman I just had too many essential problems with to just be okay with it. I think it's cool that it won still, but it still felt like ultimately a movie where it's like, I can't quite give it to Boyhood, I can't quite give it to this or that, so let's give it to Birdman because that's the least weird movie and it's still kind of weird. I don't know. So that's kind of how it felt like to me. And then, like, what was the year before? I can't remember who won 12 Years a Slave. 12 Years a Slave was like, the last couple of years, 12 Years a Slave was like the best movie to win Best Picture since No Country for Old Men. It's like when you have 12 Years a Slave, that's like one of those movies where like if it doesn't win, like people are gonna get like fired. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you kind of have like Schindler's List, like in '93.
Yeah.
It's like if Schindler's List doesn't win, like there's you're gonna hear about it. You're like, what the fuck? Like, how could you not have Schindler's List win? And like in 2013, it's like, who would you put over 12 Years a Slave without looking like a dick? Even if it was like Wolf of Wall Street, I wouldn't want to have to argue Wolf of Wall Street over 12 Years a Slave, and I love Wolf of Wall Street. You know what I mean?
Right.
But like, I wouldn't want to be like, Jordan Belfort or whatever.
Yeah.
Like that. His story deserves to have more accolades than Solomon Northup. Like, I would not want to go anywhere near that. Of course not. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, obviously, 12 Years a Slave is a movie I'd rather have more people see that movie than Wolf of Wall Street, even though I like Wolf of Wall Street. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I hear you.
I'd rather like my kids see 12 Years a Slave than ever see Wolf of Wall Street. Maybe when they're 20. 22 or something like that. But yeah, it's one of those essential films. So every once in a while, an essential film comes out that's like, of course, it should win the Oscars. For the most part, it's the one that everyone likes. It's like it's the likeiest film. What do you think?
I think I got to see some of these movies.
Yeah. Well, what jumps out at you when you see somebody like what when you look at them? What are you like? Oh man, I should probably see that movie. Like, what are those movies that you?
Well, looking at this, I'm like just right off the bat, best motion picture drama. I'm really just excited. I think more excited to see The Revenant than ever. It's becoming my most anticipated movie of the year, and it's like coming right at the tail end of it. Also, just really want to see Carol, just from everything that I heard from you saying about it, and now seeing it get recognition in this nomination field. I'm really happy to see Mad Max nominated.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not really like excited for Joy going to the comedy or musical section.
Yeah.
And I kind of feel like David O. Russell movies are just like, yeah, they've got to be presented or represented here in the nominees every year. And Jennifer Lawrence, I have a feeling, is just going to be like the Meryl Streep of our generation. Like, she's just going to always be nominated for a movie every year. And not to say she isn't talented, but yeah, she's the female actress now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Good for Amy.
Of our generation,
right? I'm happy for Amy Schumer. She came out of nowhere, really. Like, she came from just having a series on Comedy Central and like doing some stand-up specials here and there to having a huge hit of a movie. And now she's getting recognition. I don't know if that's going to translate to the Oscars. Probably not. But it's cool that yeah, right. But it's cool that that she's like, this is going to be the moment where she gets some.
Yeah. Best Original Screenplay is a weak field this year, so maybe there. I mean, it'd be kind of crazy
if that happened, right? Yeah, so that's her story.
That'd be kind of crazy, but I don't think it's going to happen. Although Bridesmaids was nominated for Best Screenplay, Original Screenplay at the Oscars, so who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows?
Looking at the actress nominees for drama, I haven't seen any of these movies. But, well, yeah, you saw Room, right? And you saw Carol. Danish Girl in Brooklyn you haven't seen yet. Carol, two actresses that are both like not one leading and one supporting, both leading. So that's good. And is that accurate? Or do they both play an equal part in this movie?
Yeah. If anything, Rooney Mara is the lead, and Cate Blanchett. But I mean, the way they're campaigning, they're putting Blanchett in the lead.
Yeah, because she's she's got the face. People know her more than they know Rooney.
Yeah, and like I think Weinstein's attitude towards it, I think he feels that I think he feels that Rooney Mara has a better chance under supporting actress than actress. So that but like it kind of gives her performance a disservice to call it a supporting performance, but at the same time, I can see why he would put her in the supporting actress category. So, whatever. I mean, I don't know if she's gonna get the buzz. Best Actress is gonna be interesting because, on one hand, Cate Blanchett, if she hadn't have won 2 years ago,
Blue Jasmine,
this would be her year.
Yeah.
And the thing is, her performance is strong enough that it's hard to say that this wouldn't be her year too. Mm-hmm. But then you have Brie Larson in Room, and Brie Larson in Room is that good to go over fucking Cate Blanchett and
fucking Cate Blanchett.
I think ultimately it's between Larson and Blanchett.
Okay.
I mean, we'll see if Jennifer Lawrence's performance is that gets enough buzz, but it really seemed to be between Larson and Blanchett, and so I think ultimately it's a question of, because Jennifer Lawrence won it a couple of years ago for Silver Linings Playbook when she was 22.
Both Russell movies, right?
Huh?
Didn't she win also for American Hustle?
No. That was... No, she was nominated, but she didn't win.
Doesn't she have 2 statues, though? 2 Oscars?
No.
She just has the one for Silver Linings?
American Hustle didn't win anything. It was nominated for a bunch of things, but didn't win. I can't remember who won that. I know that was the year... That was the year Blanchett won for Best Actress. I don't remember who won for Best Supporting Actress, though. But it wasn't American Hustle. But yeah. So she doesn't have 2... She doesn't have 2 statues, but I mean, yeah, she is that actress who pretty much will get nominated every year, as long as she's working with David O. Russell. I mean, that's the thing. I kind of want to see her put a top-notch performance with another director.
Yeah,
I just kind of want to see what she looks like with another director that's not a Hunger Games movie. Yeah. Because if you look at what she's made since after Winter's Bone, she really hasn't. It's really. I mean, thing is, it's great that she has a working relationship with David O. Russell. Next year, I think she's in a movie called Passengers.
Yeah, I'm seeing it filming now.
With Chris Pratt, and that could be interesting. And that's the director of
science fiction, spacecraft travel.
Yeah, it's a sci-fi movie directed by Martin Tildum, who did Imitation Game. Cool. That doesn't really excite me that he's directing it, but honestly, it's an interesting enough concept that I could probably go for. I probably would want to see it when it comes out. And apparently, it's Jennifer Lawrence's first ever sex scene, which I didn't even realize she never did a sex scene before. But I guess she hasn't. And she kind of said that she felt very almost too vulnerable. It was kind of a crazy experience for her. So yeah, I'm pretty excited to see, Jennifer Lawrence and Chris Pratt, sexing it up. I'm sure. No penis or vag can get shown or anything like that, but tastefully done.
Looking at the actors, I guess I'm surprised to see Will Smith there.
Yeah, I don't know how much that carries over. I don't know if it's just star power, because the Golden Globes, they love their stars.
Sure.
I think when it comes to the Oscars, Matt Damon from the comedy side, he really shouldn't be in the comedy side.
Yeah, right.
Although he's funny in it,
Right,
I don't know.
Sure.
But honestly, if it was up to me, based on what I've seen, I would give Matt Damon. Right now, that's my favorite Best Actor performance of the year.
Matt Damon, The Martian.
Or even though I would say Michael B. Jordan is stronger in Creed, but he's not getting any.
Nothing.
For some reason, he's not getting any buzz. Even though this is a weak fucking year, why not? Yeah. Why not? Seriously. I mean, I think maybe when Revenant comes out, it will be like, well, yeah, it's Leo for sure.
Maybe this is finally his year, man. You think?
Yeah.
You've got.
It's tough. I mean, we thought Wolf of Wall Street might be his year, but that turned out to be Matthew McConaughey's year.
Yeah,
It always seems like it's somebody else's year. You know, maybe this year is Matt Damon's year.
Eddie Redmayne did it last year, so it's like I think you really have to blow us away if you want to get it 2 years in a row, don't you?
Yeah, I don't think that's what's going to happen either. I don't. Dana Show isn't really getting a strong enough buzz, but then at the same time, Theory of Everything wasn't like getting crazy rave reviews.
But you knew like the physical demands of that role were like, all right, this is going to be something to see. Looking at the other actors nominated, I guess. All right, so you got Matt Damon. I don't know if the guys from The Big Short are going to make it to the top 5 for the Oscars. It's funny that we're like looking at Golden Globes and just thinking about Oscars.
That's what we did last year.
Yeah. Fassbender, I'm happy to see. Even though we had like mixed feelings on Steve Jobs, I think his performance was awesome. So I'm glad to see him there, and I hope that translates to the Oscars. So Fassbender, DiCaprio, Redmayne, and then there's 2 others that are going to be nominated. Maybe one of them is Matt Damon, and then who's the 5th?
I think it'd be Damon. I think in the Oscars, I think Depp still has a chance because he's nominated for the Screen Actors Guild. So I think Depp has a chance. I don't love Depp in that movie, but I do think that he has a chance to be nominated.
There's not another actor of these like to make that 5 like that we really enjoyed this year. Like I'm thinking about just the movies that you've seen. Like who's missing?
Oh, the movies that I've seen personally?
Yeah.
Well, as far as like Hanks and Bridge of Spies, honestly, Mark Rylance really does have the meatier role. Hanks is kind of like he does a great job, but he doesn't he's more solid than like he doesn't really blow you away. Whereas like Mark Rylance, you're like who the fuck is that? You're just kind of like whoa. This guy's really on his game, and like I know Mark Rylance he's a really good character actor. He's in a lot of stuff, but I never really paid attention to him before this movie, and so I'm glad he's nominated. And Mark Rylance will easily be nominated for Best Supporting Actor, but I don't think Hanks. I'm not surprised that Hanks. What I am surprised is like Benicio del Toro.
Yeah.
Even in supporting actor, nothing. Like it just surprises me to see that. Because he was so good,
right?
It's Sicario, and it's a completely different role than his role in Traffic. Even though it's the same subject matter, it's a completely different character, and so it really disappoints me to see that. It's one of those things like it really makes no sense. Like kind of like Nightcrawler last year, where it was like Jake Gyllenhaal kind of gave like the show-stopping performance, and like when the Oscars came around, and you're like, wait. Why? Why are we just naturally assuming, like for this year? Why, like, I say Johnny Depp for Black Mass, but it's because everyone's kind of saying that, and it's like, why are we saying it?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like kind of like Benedict Cumberbatch with Imitation Game last year. It's like we all kind of were like, yeah, he's gonna get nominated, of course, but why? And why over Jake Gyllenhaal? Like, why is it just that much of a no-brainer that he gets it over Jake Gyllenhaal? Like, what's the formula there? Doesn't make any sense, you know. So it just doesn't really seem to be any like clear like sometimes it's obvious, but then you're like someone gets passed over and you're like why? What happened that guy gets passed over? And so this year I think it's Benicio del Toro's turn to be passed over for no reason. You know, it makes no sense.
What about the actors in the end of the tour? None of those guys are anywhere. Nope.
Well, yeah, end of the tour. I mean, it didn't really do well.
Sure.
Have you seen it finally?
Not yet, no.
Well, I mean, like I thought it was a fantastic film. I really enjoyed it.
But you got Eisenberg, and then you've also got Segel in there, Jason Segel, Jesse Eisenberg, and it's just like them talking, right? It's a lot of opportunity for just solid acting,
but,
right?
I mean, really. If anyone would get the attention, it's Jason Segel.
Yeah.
And, I think it's just a matter of there's being too much competition. I mean, because he's not really... He really is kind of Eisenberg's really the lead in End of the Tour.
Yeah.
And Siegel is the supporting actor because like it's really about Eisenberg's character going to interview him. So
Right.
Siegel would be more categorized more as a supporting actor. And first of all, the studio behind End of the Tour releasing it in the summer, and End of the Tour not really getting much like box office play. I mean, it made very little amount of money in the box office.
Yeah.
Like a surprisingly, like not even like $3 million. It was like so little. You didn't even get a chance to really find any type of audience in the theater. So that, I mean, there's just a number. That's just one of the many reasons why it just kind of, it'll be on people's lists, maybe, at the end of the year. I think it's on a couple of people's lists, and it might be on my list because I really did think it was great, but awards wise, it's not getting that push. And I think A24 is the studio behind End of the Tour, and they're also behind Room. So I think they're going to put all their money on Room because Room is getting that right kind of buzz that End of the Tour just isn't getting, and. And honestly, I love what A24 is doing. They released While We're Young, they released End of the Tour, they released Room, Ex Machina. They're doing a lot of great stuff for indie film. So if Brie Larson wins for Best Actress, that's a huge moment for A24. This new studio getting Oscar attention. So. I mean that can work two different ways sometimes, where suddenly the studio's like, oh, we need to make more Oscar-friendly movies, like the Weinsteins, or maybe A24 just keeps doing what they're doing, and they release these kind of, because Room is a tough film to watch. You thought Creed was...
What's it about?
Okay, Room is about this woman who is trapped inside of a shed for 7 years, and she winds up giving birth to a boy, a 5-year-old, a boy, and like the movie starts, the boy is 5 years old already. Mm-hmm. The father of the boy is the captor,
the man who's keeping her in prison.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the movie is about them escaping the situation, and then dealing with the aftermath, like trying to cope in the open world.
Yeah. Okay. That's it. Say more. I'm interested. That's really cool.
Yeah, but I'm telling you, it's not an easy movie to watch.
I'm sure it's not. Yeah.
You will.
How much of the movie is her being in prison?
It's like, I think it's the first half of the movie.
Okay.
It's about the first half. I mean, yeah, and it's fucking. I mean, what's great about it is that it really takes that post-traumatic, the PTSD type.
So she really has to act the shit out of this role, you're saying?
Yeah, but her and the little boy, Jacob Tremblay, both fantastic. And
he's like 5-6 years old. Is he a kid?
Yeah.
Wow.
Kind of like Quavashane Wallace in Beasts of the Southern Wild. It really is one of those.
They're going to say Annie.
No, sir. But no, so Room, like, after seeing that, it's like, well, yeah, if she wins, give it to her. She nailed it,
Yeah.
So
yeah, she's been acting for a while, so I mean, and she's still very young, so it's good for her to kind of catapult her into that next level. So it's looking like this is going to be a big month for me, because I definitely, before the month is over, I'm definitely seeing The Revenant. I'm going to see Hateful Eight with you and Revenant with you. Star Wars, which is nowhere to be seen anywhere on the Golden Globes.
Unbelievable! It's like it's as if no one has seen it yet. Oh wait, that's the case.
I guess I forgot about that. There are no previews for critics or anything like that. So
I think maybe I've heard maybe next Tuesday.
I know it opens in England before it opens in the U.S. So that's the 14th or something.
I think so.
Yeah, that's probably when it opens overseas. But yeah, you're making me want to see The Room really, really bad, and I definitely want to see Carol. So I think I'm going to be seeing my fair share of movies this week.
And don't forget to see Spotlight. I mean, that's going to be that's going to be the film that probably wins everything. So
I think so. Important. That's your call. You're calling it now.
Right now.
It's December 11th, and Kenneth Guidry has proclaimed that Spotlight is going to be the big winner at the Oscars this year. So we'll see if that is true.
You remember? I think I predicted 12 Years a Slave winning Best Picture, and Alfonso Cuarón winning Best Director like 2 years ago, like way before the nominations came out. I'm pretty.
You're pretty good.
I have a good. I'm really good at predicting shit that doesn't matter.
Well, I want to hear your prediction on this. And this is switching up a little bit, but this might actually make you sad because this is something that we're both very fond of. This is the last time that we're ever going to see anything related to Mad Men being nominated for anything. You know, this is it for Mad Men. And remember when Sopranos wrapped up and like they were like the star of the Golden Globes, like the cast came out and got that standing ovation. Here, like the only representative for Mad Men is John Hamm being nominated for Best Actor in a TV series. You know, it's kind of like what the fuck. We were talking about that, like how Mad Men just kind of faded away.
It's just Sopranos 10 years ago. TV was so different then, and I think Sopranos never really lost its popularity because it was kind of like the show. It was kind of the show on HBO.
It got bigger toward the end.
Whereas Mad Men, it's in a much more crowded field. So I just think that it's kind of hard. But it's just so weird that it never went bad, ever.
Yeah.
But people thought it did. I don't.
There was a point like earlier in the show where it was just heaps of praise all over, right?
The first few seasons, it was just nonstop praise.
Yeah.
And then it never really went bad, but I don't know what it was. Like, I don't know if it was repeating storylines, but like Sopranos repeated storylines. So I don't, you know what I mean? Like, and not even in a negative way. It's just like that's kind of what happens when your show, and I wouldn't even say it does repeat any storylines. It kind of keeps itself fresh all throughout. Like, is it season 5 when Lane Price kills himself? Like, season 5 is a fucking huge season. And then season 6 is when I think season 6 might be like the weakest season, but it's still like fantastic, you know, and still, I mean, it's a slow burn, but
that's the one with Linda Cardellini or whatever.
Yeah.
Where he has the affair with her.
And then like his daughter finds out, and you know.
And then that's the one that ends with him bringing her to his childhood home or something.
Exactly.
And then season 7 is the last season.
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of putting you on a little bit there because it's just kind of funny.
Yeah.
That like, because it's like, what do you even? Because it also kind of sucks to the show like that doesn't get like. On one hand, do you say that, well, it got enough awards in the beginning of a show? Or do you know what I mean? Yeah. Is it that? Are we supposed to be okay with this? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Just gone. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of feel like with shows that are so beloved or so popular or just around for a while that people just get used to seeing the Mad Men table, you know, at the Golden Globes. Not to overly romanticize it, but, you know, they were a staple at this thing for almost 10 years. And now it's just going to be like, it's going to be John Hamm sitting by himself.
I guess. Yeah. I mean, I wonder if it's because, I don't know how well Sopranos did with the Golden Globes, but I know it was always up against, like, the West Wing and stuff like that. Yeah. And the West Wing at the Emmys always would win, and Sopranos would always lose.
Oh, that's what I'm thinking about. There's still the Emmys. All right, never mind. The Emmys are the big TV, the primetime Emmys. Those haven't happened yet, right?
They happen in September.
They do.
Oh yeah, and that was Mad Men's final season. I don't think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, Mad Men's final season began and ended before the cutoff date.
So was
for the Emmys. Qualified? I mean, it did get nominated. I don't think it. I don't know how much it won. I don't remember. I don't really remember the Emmys very well, but yeah, I don't know. I mean,
I was just like, I thought maybe Elizabeth Olsen would be there Or no, I'm sorry, not Elizabeth Olsen. Who played Peggy
That'd be
Olsen?
interesting.
What's her name?
Moss.
Elizabeth Moss. Yeah.
I do remember it did Emmys. It did have a fair show in the nominees for the Emmys, but I don't think it really won many Emmys. It could be flat out wrong. I don't know. But yeah, I don't think John Hamm won for Best Actor, and that was the thing. He never actually won for Best Actor, I don't think. And like, I don't know if it's because he's just too good looking and everyone's jealous, but like he's had fantastic performances in that show.
Yes.
I don't know. I think that's the thing with Leo. To just go back to Leo, is that Leo is so good looking that because like look how long it took for us to like respect Leo as an actor. You know, like when he was doing Gangs in New York, it's like, oh really?
Sure,
he thinks he could.
Course. You're trying to
he thinks he could. What are you doing? And then the Aviator, it's like
act with Daniel Day-Lewis.
yeah. I think it was around like The Departed, where like, okay,
all right, you're kind of cool.
Yeah, you're kind of cool. Then by fucking Django Unchained, you're like fucking Leo, or Inception. You're like, Leo's awesome. I want to suck his dick. Leo. So by now it's like, give him the fucking Oscar, man. Yeah. Give him that Oscar. So maybe he will, but like,
I think I want to say he gets it this year. I think he does. Looking at Boots Up Begins, I haven't even seen the movie yet, but
I don't know. I think he could.
It could. Very well. Like he's probably closer than ever before.
If The Revenant winds up with like 10 nominations at the Oscars, I think that gives him a good chance. If The Revenant doesn't really strike too well with the Oscars, I would be worried. I'd be worried about his chances. That's I don't know. Like, does Steve Jobs take the place? If like let's think, like if Martian winds up with 10 nominations, you're like, okay, well Matt Damon might have a really solid chance. It's one of those things. If they all have 10 nominations, then who the fuck knows? You know, if they all have, if Martian, fucking, what do you call it, Revenant, if they all have the equal amount, yeah, it'll be tough to tell. But I don't know who's really pulling ahead. I don't see anyone pulling ahead early enough for us to be able to tell who's going to win it all. So, but yeah, Mad Men gets shut out. You know what? It was a great show. I loved it. There's really nothing you could do about what the Golden Globes feels about it. I don't know if it got any SAG nominations, but yeah, it's just a shame, Justin. And well, I think between talking about Spectre and talking about the Golden Globes, I think this episode, I'd give it 9 out of 10. What do you think, Justin?
10 out of 10. It was perfect.
I mean, I feel like, I don't know, I feel like we kind of went back in time a little bit. I'm kind of confused.
Yeah.
I don't know what day it is. I don't know where we are. Do you have that feeling? Do you feel disoriented? You know, I know you're sick, but
in spite of that, you know, whenever I'm talking to you, it's just like the rest of the world stops, you know, and it's just me and you and the movies. You know what I'm saying, man? So that's just where I'm at. Like, I don't even know what time it is, day it is. Am I a boy? Am I a girl? I don't know. Golden Globes.
it's that exciting to talk about the Golden Globes. It really is. Mm-hmm. But you know what? On our next episode, we're going to talk about Creed.
Oh yeah,
that's going to be crazy. I hope it's good. I hope I like it.
Oh yeah, I have a feeling about this one. I hope it's good too. I really do.
I really do. I do feel like it's gonna be good.
Hey, yo, I mean, I hope it's good because, you know, I came back to this movie and, you know, obviously I wanted it to be good, so.
I mean,
it's being a little sick aids to the Sly Stallone.
It's not. It ain't gonna be no Rocky 5, but hopefully it's pretty good. Hopefully it's better than, you know, better than Rocky 4. Rocky Balboa. All right, Justin. Let's wrap this up and then talk about what? No, that's not what I'm trying to say. Let's talk about
Stallone and Creed. Yeah, boxing.
Creed. Boxing. All right. Yeah. So next episode we're going to talk about Creed, and I think in the future, maybe a month from now, we might talk about Star Wars. That seems like a very real possibility.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So, see you next time, guys. This is
Good
the
night.
long take. Take care of yourselves.
Bye-bye.
All right. I'm sorry.